Your life, sir.
A very good evening to today's meeting for ankylosing spondylitis, and we have our esteemed guest, Dr. Ashit Singhal. Dr. Ashit Singhal is alumnus of prestigious postgraduate institute of medical education and research, that is PGIMER Chandigarh, and Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. Dr. Singhal is a fellow of Royal College of Physicians, London, and he has successfully completed on-campus ULAR PG course in rheumatic disease. And ICH GCP certification has contributed to blossoming of his research potential. So the Dr. Singhal is the founder and director of Healing Touch City that was established in 1995. He is also a senior consultant physician and rheumatologist at Fortis Hospital, Mohali since 2003. Dr. Singhal research has been continuously cited in top 10 articles by Biomed Lip since 2009, showcased by MD Links and selected for presentation at various national and international conferences in US, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Dr. Singhal was awarded with many awards, out of which prestigious Albert Nelson Life Achievement Award from US for his contribution to science and society in 2017 is one of the decorated award that he has got. And along with that, Dr. Singhal was awarded the IRA Oration 2017, one of the highest honors bestowed in India by IRA. Dr. Singhal was awarded the Best Doctor in Rheumatology Award at the 6th MT Healthcare Award at Mumbai on 11th March 2016. So one of his abstract was chosen for EPLAR 2016, FV Best Abstract Award at Shanghai. He won the second Best Paper Prize for his innovative research at IRACon 2016 Kochi. So the list is quite long, and without taking much of your time, now I would request Dr. Ashit Singhal to kindly take his presentation on ankylosing spondylitis, and after completion of his presentation, we will take the question from audiences. Dr. Singhal, sir, over to you, please.
Dr. Kamal, good evening and thank you for your kind words. Good evening, friends. Welcome to the Ankylosing Spondylitis Symposium on the occasion of World Ankylosing Spondylitis Day. World Ankylosing Spondylitis Day is usually observed on the first Saturday of May every year, but it is observed on second Saturday if it falls on May 1st. World Ankylosing Spondylitis Day aims to raise awareness of the disease, helps people to connect with support and care, and share information about ankylosing spondylitis. आज मैं आपसे एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस के विषय में चर्चा करूंगा। हम स्टार्ट करेंगे सिंपल क्वेश्चन से कि व्हाट इज एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस, व्हाट आर द कॉजेज एंड रिस्क फैक्टर्स फॉर दिस डिजीज, इस बीमारी के क्या लक्षण होते हैं, इस बीमारी का किस तरह से इलाज किया जाता है, और आजकल कोविड के दौर में rheumatic diseases in general and ankylosing spondylitis in particular का कोविड के साथ क्या रिलेशनशिप है, स्पेशली विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ट्रीटमेंट एंड वैक्सीनेशन, ये भी हम इस विषय में भी कुछ चर्चा करें। So ankylosing spondylitis is a chronic systemic inflammatory rheumatic disease affecting the axial skeleton, girdle joints like the hip and shoulder, peripheral joints, and tendons and ligaments. सरल शब्दों में अगर हम कहें तो एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस एक प्रकार का आर्थराइटिस है। The term ankylosing spondylitis is derived from the Greek language. Ankylos in Greek भाषा में इसका मीनिंग है bend, and spondylos means spinal vertebrae. Ankylosing spondylitis पुरुषों में 3 गुना अधिक पाया जाता है। HLA-B27 एक जेनेटिक मार्कर है इस डिजीज के लिए, so it affects 1 to 3% of HLA-B27 positive patients. 95% or more of ankylosing spondylitis patients are HLA-B27 positive. Ankylosing spondylitis सभी स्पॉन्डाइलोआर्थ्रोपैथी का प्रोटोटाइप माना जाता रहा है। अब यह माना जाने लगा है कि स्पॉन्डिलोआर्थराइटिस डिफरेंट रूमेटिक डिजीजेस को इंक्लूड नहीं करता। असल में स्पॉन्डिलोआर्थोपैथी includes a single disease with different clinical presentations. एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस के बारे में कई मिथ्स प्रचलित हैं। कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि दिस इज अ रेयर डिजीज, बट इन फैक्ट एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस अबाउट 0.9% ऑफ जनरल पॉपुलेशन को अफ्लिक्ट करता है। इट इज ऑल्सो थॉट दैट एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस इज easy to diagnose, but in fact इसका डायग्नोसिस ऑफन मिस हो जाता है एंड हमें इसका डायग्नोज और ट्रीटमेंट करने के लिए रूमेटोलॉजिस्ट की मदद लेनी पड़ती है। There is another myth that ankylosing spondylitis is not treatable. The truth is, ankylosing spondylitis is a treatable form of arthritis. There is another myth which says that it's not a serious disease, but सच ये है कि the disease burden is significant in terms of pain, sick leave, early retirement, and it can lead to structural damage if not diagnosed in time and treated properly. It is also believed that ankylosing spondylitis is only a disease of joints and bones. But the fact is, ankylosing spondylitis is a multi-system disorder. अभी हम इसके बारे आगे चलकर और भी चर्चा करेंगे. Another myth which is prevalent is that it has no impact on the lifespan. However, the mortality figures of ankylosing spondylitis patients, especially those who are untreated or poorly treated, may parallel those of rheumatoid arthritis. Ankylosing spondylitis के कुछ risk factors. These are classified as non-modifiable and modifiable risk factors. Non-modifiable risk factors में age, 15 से 40 साल के उम्र में ये डिजीज होने की संभावना ज़्यादा है. Sex, men are affected approximately 3 times more than women. A family history of HLA-B27 positive or a family history of spondyloarthropathy is another non-modifiable risk factor. Amongst the modifiable risk factors, an important one is infection, especially of the urinary and the intestinal tract. Injury also increases the risk of ankylosing spondylitis. अब हम देखते हैं कि यह रोग किस प्रकार से आरंभ होता है. In a person who is genetically predisposed, for example, a person who is HLA-B27 positive, a disturbed gut barrier, skin barrier, or infection leads to exposure to microbes. Mechanical stress also contributes to this exposure, resulting in inflammation of the sacroiliac joint, spinal joints, ligaments, and tendons. The repair occurs by fibrous tissue invading the subchondral area of the bone, activation of osteoclasts leading to new bone formation. Ankylosing spondylitis के क्या लक्षण होते हैं, क्या symptoms होते हैं? An ankylosing spondylitis patient often has inflammatory back pain. Inflammatory back pain एक ordinary back pain नहीं है, बल्कि इसके कुछ characteristic feature होते हैं. Inflammatory back pain occurs usually at night, and that too usually in the second half of the night. It is associated with morning stiffness. The pain and the stiffness improves with physical activity, and there is good response of pain and stiffness to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. There may be involvement of other joints, ligaments, or tendons. There is often a family history of spondyloarthropathy or preceding infection. Laboratory tests show HLA-B27 positivity, high CRP, and high ESR. Imaging by means of X-ray or MRI shows sacroiliitis and evidence of new bone formation. एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस सिर्फ जोड़ों की बीमारी नहीं है, इसमें आंखें, इंटेस्टाइन, हार्ट, स्किन, किडनी, लंग्स, बोन सभी इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं। एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस के कुछ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सिम्टम्स भी हैं। These include anorexia यानी कि भूख कम लगना, malaise, सुस्ती, low grade fever, weight loss, and fatigue. Fatigue is often a very frequent symptom and it is often overlooked in a patient with ankylosing spondylitis. The most striking feature of ankylosing spondylitis is a new bone formation in the spine, which is known as syndesmophyte. Fusion of spinal joints leads to ankylosis. Both these changes can be very easily seen on an ordinary X-ray film. Over time, the joints in the spine can fuse together and cause a fixed, bent forward posture. Early diagnosis and treatment is important to prevent structural damage. There are 5 early warning signs of ankylosing spondylitis. Morning is first with back pain and stiffness that lasts at least 30 minutes. Pain and stiffness improve with movement. There is pain in the buttocks. Other joints like the neck, shoulder, hips, or knees also pain. And fatigue is an important symptom. Fighting inflammation is an exhausting thing for the body. So it is very important to be aware of these early warning signs, which will help you to suspect this disease early, reach a rheumatologist early, take an early treatment, and limit disease progression and structural damage, and have a good quality of life, and also avoid all the complications of this disease. अभी तक हमने एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस क्या है, उसके कॉजेज, रिस्क फैक्टर्स और किस तरह ये बीमारी आरंभ होती है, इसके क्या लक्षण हैं, क्या इसके वार्निंग साइंस होते हैं, वो हमने अभी सबके बारे में जाना। नाउ आइए अब हम जानते हैं कि इस बीमारी का इलाज किस प्रकार से किया जाता है। एंकोलाइजिंग स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस के उपचार के 3 मुख्य लक्ष्य हैं: control of symptom, functional improvement, arrest of disease progression. These are the 3 goals of treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. Ankylosing spondylitis का उपचार कई फैक्टर्स पर भी डिपेंड करता है। करंट डिजीज किस प्रकार की है, इसमें सिर्फ एक्सियल इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, पेरिफेरल जॉइंट्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, लिगामेंट्स एंड टेंडन इन्वॉल्व हैं, या जोड़ों के अलावा और ऑर्गन को भी डिजीज ने पकड़ा हुआ है। उपचार इस पर भी निर्भर करता है कि किस प्रकार के सिम्टम्स, क्लिनिकल फाइंडिंग्स और प्रोग्नोस्टिक इंडिकेटर्स प्रेजेंट हैं गिवन केस में। Certain patient factors like age of the patient, gender, male or female, pre-existing illness or comorbidities, जो medicines already pre-existing medicines ले रहे हैं, and psychosocial factors. These are also important while planning for treatment of an ankylosing spondylitis patient. Ankylosing spondylitis के उपचार में नॉन ड्रग एंड ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट दोनों ही बहुत आवश्यक है। नॉन ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट में शामिल है पेशेंट एजुकेशन, एक्सरसाइज एंड क्विटिंग स्मोकिंग इन स्मोकिंग। एक्सरसाइज का एंगस्पॉन में बहुत ही अहम रोल है। एक्सरसाइज चाहे पानी में या लैंड बेस्ड हो सकती है। ये ध्यान रहे कि हाई इम्पैक्ट एक्सरसाइज को अवॉइड करना चाहिए to prevent any injury to joint and other structures. The 4 major classes of drugs which are used in the pharmacological treatment of ankylosing spondylitis include non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, synthetic disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, biological disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, and biosimilars. इसमें कोई शक नहीं है कि बायोलॉजिक ड्रग्स की खोज ने एंकोलाइटिस स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस के उपचार में एक रेवोल्यूशनरी चेंज लाया। एग्जिस्टिंग ट्रीटमेंट के अलावा भी कई और नए ट्रीटमेंट्स पर बहुत अच्छी रिसर्च चल रही है एंड वी आर श्योर दैट सम न्यू ट्रीटमेंट्स विल इमर्ज वेरी सून। Joint replacement surgery for hip or knees is can be a rehabilitative procedure in patients of ankylosing spondylitis जिनकी डिजीज या तो इतनी तेज थी या उसको किसी कारण से प्रॉपर ट्रीटमेंट नहीं मिला कि जॉइंट की डिस्ट्रक्शन है। पर हमें यह याद रखना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि जॉइंट रिप्लेसमेंट के बाद भी मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट कंटिन्यू करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है टू चेक द डिजीज प्रोग्रेशन, further structural damage and to avoid complications. आज ह्यूमैनिटी कोविड पैंडेमिक के प्रकोप से जूझ रही है। आइए हम देखें कि रूमेटिक डिजीज इंक्लूडिंग एंकोलाइटिस स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस और कोविड का क्या रिलेशनशिप है। कोई एविडेंस नहीं है कि रूमेटिक डिजीज पेशेंट को कोविड होने का ज़्यादा रिस्क। कोई एविडेंस यह भी नहीं है कि रूमेटिक डिजीज पेशेंट हैव ए वर्स कोर्स देन जनरल पॉपुलेशन। There is no recommendation to withhold use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, steroids, synthetic DMARDs, biologic DMARDs, and JAK inhibitors in rheumatic disease patients without COVID. आज कोविड के सिलसिले में वैक्सीनेशन का सिलसिला काफ़ी ज़ोरों से है, तो हमें ये भी समझना ज़रूरी है कि एंटी रोमैटिक ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट और कोविड वैक्सीन का आपस में क्या रिलेशनशिप है। There is no modification required for either the treatment or vaccination in patients of rheumatic diseases or ankylosing spondylitis who are taking TNF inhibitors, interleukin inhibitors, low-dose steroid, sulfasalazine, hydroxychloroquine, or leflunomide. Drug modification is required for rheumatic disease patients who are taking methotrexate, JAK inhibitors, abatacept, or cyclophosphamide. So it is important that a patient of rheumatic disease who's on treatment and is contemplating taking a COVID vaccine must discuss with his or her care provider and take their advice regarding the drugs that they are currently on. So friends, to summarize, ankylosing spondylitis is a treatable form of arthritis, but requires specialist consultation with rheumatologists. It is possible to stop structural damage and progression with early and good treatment. There are many effective treatment options that need to be individualized with each patient. Apart from available therapies, many new treatment options are in various stages of development. Thank you so much. I am now ready to take questions. Dr. Kamal, I will need your help with the questions, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your presentation, sir, and making this very simple and in a very simple language. So now I would take the questions which are coming from audience. So the first question is, sir, can diet with high omega-3 fatty acid prevent ankylosing spondylitis?
I think the short answer is no. I think we went through a slide which showed that there are non-modifiable and modifiable risk factors. Among the modifiable risk factors, there are two very important factors. They are infection, so prevention of infection or an early treatment of infection will help in preventing the disease. And similarly, for injury also, these are the two modifiable risk factors.
Thanks, sir. Next question is, sir, what are the exercises I can do? I think for ankylosing spondylitis, what are the exercises that can be beneficial?
So, a patient with ankylosing spondylitis requires perhaps two major kinds of exercise. One are the general exercise which all of us required for cardiovascular health. So the general exercise like walk, cycling, and things like this. But coming specifically to the disease, an ankylosing spondylitis patient requires a range of movements for their different joints, and they also need exercises, especially for the spine. If I would say in one word, what is an ideal exercise program for a patient with ankylosing spondylitis, I would say it is yoga.
थैंक यू सर. सर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इस बीमारी के साथ हम कोविड वैक्सीन ले सकते हैं क्या?
I think we just covered that question in one
Yes,
of the
sir.
slides, but I will just maybe person missed it. I will again expand on it. It is safe to take COVID vaccine in patients with ankylosing spondylitis and other rheumatic diseases. There is no problem, but you have to be careful that you must discuss with your doctor the medication which you are currently taking and alter them according to his or her requirement. अभी एक बहुत ही अच्छी लेटेस्ट रिपोर्ट आई है एनल्स ऑफ रूमेटिक डिजीजेस में, जिसमें ये बताया गया है कि रूमेटिक डिजीज के पेशेंट जिसमें लूपस, रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस, हैंड्स और अलग भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के रूमेटिक डिजीज पेशेंट थे, उनमें ये स्टडी की गई है और उनमें पाया गया है कि जब उन्होंने फर्स्ट वैक्सीन ली, उसके बाद देयर इज अ वेरी गुड एंटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स इन दीज पेशेंट. More than 75% of these patients developed very good antibodies, irrespective of the kind of treatment they were on. So it means that vaccination is effective in people with rheumatic diseases. It is also effective in patients of rheumatic diseases who are currently on their approved medications. So that's a very good news. So far, we did not have this evidence for rheumatic diseases, but this evidence has now become available. So all of us who are having rheumatic diseases should not shy away from vaccine and must go ahead and take the vaccine. पर ये ख्याल रहे जो जिन लोगों को कोविड हो चुका है, they must have at least 6 to 7 weeks gap from the time they become well before they go for COVID vaccination.
थैंक यू सर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या आयुर्वेदिक दवाई बेहतर और प्रभावी होती हैं?
I don't think I'm a competent person to comment on this. I have not studied Ayurveda, and I'm not aware of the treatment options in Ayurveda or any research which has been published with the Ayurvedic kind of treatment. तो हमने आज मॉडर्न मेडिसिन की बात की, ये सारी एविडेंस बेस्ड है और इस पे स्टडीज दुनिया भर में हुई हैं और कितने पेशेंट्स ने ट्रीटमेंट लिया है और उनको इसका फायदा हुआ.
थैंक यू सर. The next question is ankylosing spondylitis a genetic disease?
There is a genetic component attached with the disease, as we just were discussing during the talk. Actually, HLA-B27 is a very important genetic marker. More than 95% of the ankylosing spondylitis patients are HLA-B27 positive, but at the same time, only 1 to 3% of HLA-B27 positive patients develop hands-on. So it means genetic is one component, second component is the environment, and a third component can be a trigger of the disease like an infectious agent or injury or trauma.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next question is how long I have to take medicines?
That's a very good question. I was hoping no one would ask this question, but anyways. So by definition, I will not hide that ankylosing spondylitis is a chronic. It's chronic like blood pressure, diabetes. It's a chronic disease. But having said that, I would also say that the ankylosing spondylitis is very treatable. So we have a treat to target approach. Treat to target approach means like I mentioned to you that we have three major goals of treatment: symptom relief, improving the function, limiting damage. So based on these three pillars of principle of treatment, the aim is to bring the disease to remission. Remission means trying to put the disease to sleep. If a disease goes into sleep, it is almost as good as remission. It is if it goes to sleep, sorry, it is as good as cured. So if a patient has sustained remission, he can gradually think of reducing the drug and maybe ultimately stop the treatment. So that is what I would like to say on this question.
Thank you, sir. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज मेरे बेटे को यह बीमारी है और उसकी उम्र सिर्फ 25-26 साल है। बिना कोई कारण इस कम उम्र में यह बीमारी क्यों हुई?
अ, ये बीमारी अक्सर 50 to 40 ईयर्स की रेंज में ही होती है, यंग लोगों में होती है. दैट इज वाई इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू कैच दिस डिजीज early, because this is the segment of people who are studying or working on making their career, and then they need to settle down in life, and they are productive members of the community. They need to be economically active to support their families. So that is why it is very important that this disease be diagnosed early and treated appropriately. That is why I was at great pains to tell you the 5 warning signs of this disease.
Sure, sir. Sir, next question: does ankylosing spondylitis in pregnant lady causes the complication to mother or baby?
No, it doesn't. The only thing is that for any rheumatic disease, including ankylosing spondylitis, when anyone is contemplating starting a family, yes, क्या हम बेबी के लिए प्लान कर रहे हैं, one that we should do in consultation with our rheumatologist. Take the rheumatologist into confidence so that he can help us to plan the treatment appropriately. In general, principles are that disease should be reasonably well controlled. Then one should be careful with the treatment one is taking. For example, if someone is on methotrexate, conception should not occur on that time. Methotrexate needs to be stopped for at least 3 to 4 months before even trying to trying to conceive. So hence it is very important that you have a very open discussion with your healthcare provider. Talk to him very him or her very clearly and tell him your aspirations and goals and take his advice in that concern.
Sure, sir. Sir, next question is TNF inhibitor safe, and why are they so expensive?
TNF inhibitors are one of the oldest drugs which have been tried and which are still being used for the treatment of this disease. The first TNF inhibitor came in the year 1996. They are extremely potent forms of therapy for this disease, and they have revolutionized the treatment of this disease. The TFN inhibitors were very expensive, also continue to be somewhat expensive for other even patients because our insurance support for treatment is limited in this country. However, the cost of TNF inhibitors over the years because of usage, more competition has come down. Another good thing which has happened from a cost perspective is that drugs similar to biologics, which are other biosimilars, have come about. And these biosimilars are less expensive, about 30%, 25 to 30% less expensive as compared to innovator drugs. So for TNF inhibitors, we have biosimilars for Eternal, adalimumab, and infliximab. The biosimilars are available, and I don't think they are in any way inferior to the innovator.
Sure, sir. Sir, next question is from a physician. I am a physician practicing in Bid district of Maharashtra, and there are no rheumatologists in my district. I used to treat rheumatological conditions. I have used DMARDs for patients, that is HCQ, MTX, SSZ, LEF, and Iguratimod. My patients cannot afford biosimilars. Now heard about tofacitinib. How to use it, and can we use it in AS? Can I manage my patient with AS with the tofacitinib?
I think I must congratulate uh, the respected doctor. He is doing a great job sitting in an interior area. He must be really very interested in science and in his patients to do such a kind of good work and being so bold despite limited resources. And he's doing a great job. So, doctor, congratulations at the outset. Second thing is, I'm also very happy to note that you are using most of the molecules which are currently available, and you have a very good concern for your patients because you have the cost factor nicely tuned into your practice. I agree with you. Even people like us sitting in metropolitan cities, even we have difficulty using the expensive TNF inhibitors or other biologic or even biosimilars. Not all patients can afford these drugs even in metropolitan cities. So one has to resort to several other innovations and, so to say in an Indian way, a jugaad actually for people. Now coming specifically to it, one that see when you treat patients with rheumatic, it's very important that you measure the disease. Because if you don't measure the disease, it's very difficult to decide that what is the impact of the treatment that you have already offered to the patient, and has that treatment really been ineffective or inadequate for that patient? So it's just as you measure the blood pressure of every patient before you decide whether the patient needs a change of drug or hiking in the dose or reducing the dose. Similarly, in rheumatic disease patient, you must measure the disease, whatever, be it rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. And it's not difficult, and you don't have to order a lab test. You can do it just bedside, and it's very easy to learn, and it will take less time than even just recording the blood. Similarly, in diabetes, you measure the blood sugar before you alter your patient's prescription. So, hence, you must use tools to quantify the disease in your patient's health, and then make informed choices about it. What at least I do in my clinic, we follow a simple principle of shared decision making. We make the patient realize that this is your disease duration, these are your comorbidities, and after treatment, this is where you started from and this is where you are now. So at this point of time, what are your current options? So place all the cards openly on the table for the patient, and then we help them to make an informed decision. But we do involve the patient in this decision making, with which the compliance of the patient improves actually, and he feels that he is part of the treatment team. So it helps the patient to follow the instructions and to be more compliant with the treatment. Now, coming specifically to your question regarding tofacitinib, yes, tofacitinib has gone off patent as of November 2020, and it has become available at more affordable prices to our patients. So, as far as approvals are concerned, tofacitinib is approved for rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile polyarticular rheumatoid arthritis not responding to conventional treatments. It is approved for psoriatic arthritis, and we have sometimes tried this drug even in patients with Anspon where they did not respond to synthetic DMARD and were unable to afford biologic treatment. So it can be tried, but be sure that your patient has an active disease and is a truly a non-responder or an inadequate responder to the conventional treatment which you are offering. Because it's a progression in the treatment algorithm. So you must be sure, and not just a single visit is enough often to take this question. Sometimes you need to do it on 2, 3 occasions just to make sure that you are not altering the treatment just because of a small flare which could have been managed conservatively.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, can AS cause sexual dysfunction?
Not in the physical sense, maybe because of psychological reasons, of course. Not in the physical sense, not because of the disease, not because of the drug, actually. More from a psychological impact, I would say.
Sure, sir. Sir, next question is, my friend has low back pain. After diagnosis, doctor told it is ankylosing spondylitis. Now I am suffering with low back pain from last 2 months, but doctor only prescribed me painkiller. Told me it is low back pain only. So is low back pain not always leads to ankylosing spondylitis? Is it right? How to reduce this pain further?
Low back pain can have many causes. One of the causes, especially in young people, especially if it is an inflammatory low back pain. Inflammatory low back pain means that the pain will usually occur at night, and that also in the second half of night. It is associated with morning stiffness. The pain and stiffness improves with movement, and the pain and stiffness also responds to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. So if you meet the criteria of inflammatory low back pain, and if your HLA-B27 is positive, or you have any other sparse symptom, and there is evidence of sacroiliitis or new bone formation on an imaging modality, you will be said to have ankylosing spondylitis or a spondyloarthritis. So once the diagnosis is made, then one must measure the disease, that what is the activity of the disease, and take into account the other patient factors, the age, the gender, pre-existing illnesses like we all discussed, and then decide on a treatment modality. NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which commonly we call as pain relievers, are an extremely effective form of treatment in patients with ankylosing spondylitis. But the problem is, because of their side effects on liver, kidney, we are unable to use them over a long period of time. So generally, we then use it on an on-demand basis rather than a continuous form of non-steroidal. And we choose another agent to control the disease.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next question is, I am AS patient. I am taking methotrexate 10 milligram and sulfasalazine 2 gram per day. My doctor changed the brands like Saz, Sazo. Is this medicine safe? Because I am taking it from a long time.
Generally, the synthetic demands are safe drugs, but you need to take all these drugs under the supervision of the healthcare provider, and your healthcare provider will assess you clinically and also advise you lab tests from time to time to check the safety of it. Yes, anything else?
Thank you, sir. So the next question is yoga, does yoga relieves ankylosing spondylitis?
Yoga is a very effective form of physical exercise for you, especially for yoga patients, for
Sure.
ankylosing spondylitis patients.
Right. Is there any way to prevent this disease at early stage?
By being aware, by looking at the warning signs, one can diagnose it early, and limit the disease. And for prevention, if you have a genetic background, you must be careful with individual.
Sure. Sir. So the next question is, my doctor tells me don't take painkillers. What happen if I take it for long time? My mother every day eats diabetes medicine, so why I can't take a painkiller every day? Because painkiller tablet help me to reduce my pain.
You're absolutely right. The painkiller or the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are an effective form of treatment in ankylosing spondylitis, and they control the pain and also the disease to a large extent. The problem is the side effects which occur with pain reliever medications, especially side effects on the liver, kidney, and stomach. That is why there is a reluctance for us to encourage use of pain reliever. And there are other treatment modalities like the disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, which are now available and which will give you a very good relief if you use them appropriately under guidance of the healthcare provider.
Sir, next question is from a doctor, Dr. Balaji. He has asked, can iguratimod be used in AS patient? I found iguratimod is safe among the MARDs.
I'm at least not aware of any publication or case reports where mode is approved for treatment of ankylosing spondylitis. Maybe someone from Magenta Pharma would be better to can better take up this question.
No, sir. Is there any other question, Vijayanand? I think yes, sir, some other question is coming, I think.
Okay. I think we've had a very good discussion. I'm so happy that it stimulated the thought process of so many patients and doctors, and we are having
Yes,
a
sir.
really very good discussion. And it's very uncommon to see this kind of discussion happening in webinars and an online platform. Of course, it does happen in
Right, sir.
face-to-face interaction. So I'm so happy about that.
Yes, sir, definitely. So the audience are taking part with quite interest, and they are asking their questions. Sir, next question: which TNF inhibitor is economic?
So When you talk about economy, the between the innovator and the biosimilars are obviously more economical as compared to innovator. And then between the different kinds of biosimilars also, something which you will use subcutaneously will definitely be cheaper because there will be no hospital cost, no travel time, and you save time, energy, and money in traveling. So a subcutaneous administration of a biosimilar would be the most economical to my mind.
So, sir, next question is quite interesting, sir. My doctor instructed me not to drink while taking the marks. So I think he wants to know your opinion on that, sir.
I think you should listen to the doctor, I would say.
Okay. Sir, next question is my sister is AS patient and I also am HLA B27 positive. Please suggest good medicine.
So, this gentleman has a family history of cholera. The information that he has provided is that he is actually B27 positive, but we do not know whether he is symptomatic for it or not. In case he is symptomatic, then he needs to take the standard treatment. In case he is not symptomatic but only actually B27 positive about which he is aware, then he should pay attention to the development side. Prevent injuries from, be careful that he does not sustain injury and prevent infections, or if he does get an infection, take an early treatment for for treating the infection.
Sure, sir. Next question is, sir, I am overweight. So is it susceptible for AS?
Weight as it is a bad thing for health actually. Patients who have more weight, they have more cytokines. Cytokines are the chemicals which trigger the disease. And sometimes their response to treatment can also be suboptimal and their joints are overloaded. Hence, the response to treatment will be slower.
Sir, next question is why AS is not curable completely?
AS is classified as a chronic disease. It's not classified as an infection. It's an autoimmune disorder. It's pretty complex. We have tried to make it very simple for this presentation. But if you look at it really, it's a very complex one. And it's a chronic disorder. And it is autoimmune in nature and inflammatory disorder. And perhaps we do not exactly understand also the entire causation of this complex disease. So till we reach that stage, I don't think we can have a one-time treatment.
Right, sir. Sir, next question is from Vijay Lakshmi. Vijay Lakshmi has conveyed thanks. Dr. Sahab is mother. Dr. Saab is best. Mother is taking treatment from 8 years. So she wants to convey thanks to you, sir.
I'm so happy to hear about it.
Vijayananda, any other question? Next question is methotrexate safe?
Methotrexate is a pretty old drug now. It was first started getting. It's a very interesting story about methotrexate. Actually, methotrexate was discovered by an Andhra doctor working in US in the 1950s for genital cancers in women. So that's how it was first discovered. In late 80s, it started to be used in Canada, that is the United States. And I remember in 90s, early 1990, I was getting that PTR, and we started using methotrexate for rheumatic disease patients. So the drug has a pretty long track of efficacy and safety. It's a wonderful drug. And just like all other drugs, one needs to use it carefully and not just use it blindly. The indication should be appropriate. Patient needs to be monitored. Few lab tests need to be done from time to time. And indiscriminately should be avoided.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next question is I'm 30-year-old and I was diagnosed with AS 4 years back. I am taking sulfasalazine regularly, but the stiffness is increasing day by day. Now I am having problem in breathing. I can't sleep properly. Sometimes I feel fever or fatigue and pain everywhere in body. Can you suggest me any other medicine?
Okay, so clearly you have a 4 year history of ankylosing spondylitis. You received sulfasalazine. I do not know what doses and for how long you have been taking this medication and how compliant you have been with this treatment. And also, we do not have information regarding your exercise program. But what is apparent is that your disease is quite active at the moment and you need some additional help, which you should have a discussion, open discussion with your rheumatologist. Have the disease reassessed, measure the disease, that what is the activity of the disease, and also follow a good exercise program apart from a medical treatment. That's my suggestion.
Sure, sir. Sir, next question. Does pranayama work in ankylosing spondylitis?
Any form of yoga is useful in ankylosing spondylitis. Pranayam will help you for your chest expansion. The chest cage can get restricted in patient with ankylosing spondylitis who do not exercise or use the gym. In addition, pranayam also provides good mental relaxation.
Thanks, sir. Sir, next question is I work in bank. I have to drive bike every day. Is driving bike for long period cause ankylosing spondylitis? I am having back pain.
See, riding a bike, especially on the road which is not very smooth or calculated properly, can lead to micro trauma and injuries. Trauma can become a precipitating cause of a disease if you have a genetic background. But driving per se will not lead to ankylosing. Ankylosing spondylitis, you must remember, is an autoimmune inflammatory disease.
Uh, yes, sir. Another question is I have AS from last 5 years. I was taking methotrexate, sulfasalazine, and NSAID in first 3.5 years. NSAID as per pain whenever pain is there. Now I am on adalimumab since 1.5 years. My doctor told me I have to take injection in every 6 months. How long it will be continued? It is expensive injection. Is there any new medicine which is affordable?
So you are this patient is on a biosimilar of adalimumab, but the innovator brand Humira is not available. So of course the biosimilar adalimumab is less expensive as compared to the innovator brand, but still from a retail perspective might be expensive. On an average cost of adalimumab is around 7 to 8 thousand rupees per dose, and one needs to take uh, a dose every 15 days. But if you do a drug and a non-drug therapy together, you do 45 minutes to 60 minutes of exercise a day, and you take your medication regularly, your disease activity will come down, which will help you expand the interval of the drug from 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and things like that. But keeping a close check on the disease activity, that disease still continues to be. By this manner, the cost of the treatment can be cut down significantly. What happens, what I see in practice over the last 35 years or so, like for example, we have patients from over 40 countries in Australia. Many of them are physically who are far off, they can suggest one time. So the problem is that people not heed to the advice supposed to say. Everyone is looking for a quick fix, tablet or an injection which can give them. But unfortunately, in a disease like ankylosing spondylitis, it's not so. I also mentioned in my presentation that exercise is a very important part of the treatment program. I have seen patients who do regular exercise, their doses are much less. Their relief from pain, stiffness, and other symptoms of the disease is much better. They have a good functional capacity. Their progression is checked and they have good outcomes. So just don't be focused on the drug alone. And exercise is free of cost. I always say you don't need it. For doing yoga, you don't need a club membership. You don't have to need a gym. You don't have to go anywhere. You just need the will to do it. And these days, so many online tools are available in the YouTube and other social media. Or you can even join an online yoga class for the first few weeks, learn yoga under supervision, and then continue on your. But you must be motivated and convinced about the usefulness of a good exercise program in a disease like an.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot on behalf of all of the audience and on behalf of Ajanta Pharma. I would like to extend my sincere thanks for a wonderful presentation and followed by a very, very nice discussion and patiently hearing all of the questions and giving answer in a very simple language and which is understandable by the patients also and is very useful. I think one more question has been added, sir. One more patient conveyed regards. Patient name is Harjeet Kaur Hundal. I'm your patient from since 10 years and
I
also
think she is
complained
not able
about
to hear the audio of the presentation. Ma'am, don't worry. I think this presentation is going to be later available on the Facebook Live, and you should be able to view it in your comfort of your home at your own comfort actually. And you should don't worry about not being able to. There may have been some technology glitch
yes, sir.
that you could not get. We are so sorry for that, but don't worry about it. It's going to be available to you later on. Is that right,
Sure.
Kamal? I think this presentation is going to be available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It will be available, sir.
Yeah.
So again, thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot on behalf of all of the audience and from Ajanta Pharma for this wonderful presentation and patiently hearing the question and giving answer in the most simplified way. I myself personally has been very fortunate to attend this program, and I am sure everybody must have enjoyed it and must have gained their knowledge about ankylosing spondylitis. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
All the best.
Thanks, sir. Good night, sir.
Questions are still coming, sir.